government is closed for business. Again. This is the third time in a year that the federal government has been partially shut down. The shutdown began at midnight Saturday when lawmakers couldn't agree on a spending bill. A spending bill which included $5 billion for President Trump's border wall. The shutdown follows days of negotiations and a bizarre episode in the Oval Office between President Trump and senior Democratic lawmakers.
If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
So now, a quarter of the U.S. government has no funding. That includes 9 cabinet-level departments and dozens of agencies, including Homeland Security, Transportation, Interior, Agriculture, State, and Justice. Hundreds of thousands of government employees will either be furloughed or forced to work without pay until the situation is resolved. And this comes just as the holiday season kicks off across the world. While Trump told the entire world that he would own the shutdown, he soon changed his mind and blamed the Democrats for not cooperating with him.
I think there's an assumption. These shutdowns generally don't last long, and I think the Democrats are assuming it will be the case this time. Eventually, there will be pressure on Trump. The rest of the Republican Party is not in favor of this. So I think Democrats are counting on the rest of the Republican Party to eventually convince him to drop the issue or to modify what it is he wants to have done. I think that is their assumption.
Democrats say they are willing to give the Trump administration $0 for the wall.
All right, so I said, I'll praise to Yahweh Shem Abishai, Bashim Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that were well, and salutations to the brothers that stood in truth and sincerity. Now, this is all a part of the elite's plan to shut down the government because America is going broke. Slack you. Yeah, because America is going broke, and like they said, it's around the holiday time and stuff. The Lord is, bringing this society down, man. And all these holidays and stuff, people gonna eventually stop, holding them to high esteem. Like they have been. A lot of people have stopped holding these holidays to high esteem because it ain't nothing but the worship of idols. It's, as far as Israel, a lot of other nations aren't doing it too much neither. But as far as the Israelites, the blacks, Native Americans, they're going to stop holding this stuff up to a high esteem, But, what else was I going to say? America is going broke. They can't find funding. This ain't the first time these government shutdowns have been happening, They did it, I think they did it in 2011 or 2012 also, right after they did austerity measures in Kenosha. I have to look back into it. But yeah, America's going down, man. But I'm going to go ahead and play this next clip.
The lawmakers of both the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives adjourned their meetings without passing a budget agreement ensuring a government shutdown. The partial shutdown comes amid an impasse between President Donald Trump and lawmakers over...
And this is the first time I've heard of it being a partial shutdown. Usually they had a whole government shutdown.
Billions in federal funding for a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The shutdown will expire spending for a number of federal agencies, impacting hundreds of thousands of federal employees. The House is set to return from recess at noon on Saturday. For more on that, we're joined by Mr. Richard Becker from the Answer Coalition, joining us live from San Francisco. Thank you very much, Mr. Becker, for once again joining us on Press TV's World News. How far do you believe that the Democrats are going to take this? And how come no one is asking President Trump that based on his campaign promises, he was supposed to make Mexico pay for the wall?
Well, of course, that was always ridiculous. That was just part of the propaganda campaign that Trump waged to try to appeal to people who didn't know better. But first of all, we have to say there is no immigration crisis in the United States. There are not millions of people coming.
That helped put a little fire under the race riots, the race tensions. It's like it.
Across heading for the U.S. border. The United States is a very big country, over 330 million people. The caravans that Trump has made such a big deal about, a total account for 6,000 people. If we should compare that to Lebanon, a country with about 4.5 million Lebanese that has over 2.5 million refugees that they have to accommodate. So this is all just propaganda on Trump's part. And the shutdown of the government is particularly vicious. Coming at this time of year, it's a holiday time, people have added expenses. We're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 700,000 to 800,000 federal workers who will either keep working but not get paid right now, or who will be furloughed without pay altogether. So the whole theme of the Trump campaign and Trump himself about the necessity of a wall and using that as the pretext to have a shutdown of the government is really it's an abominable act on the part of Trump.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richard Becker from the Answer Coalition, with, of course, his take on the U.S. government possible shutdown.
All right, now I'm gonna get into just the definition on the Wikipedia on the government shutdown. It said government shutdowns in the United States. In United States politics, a government shutdown occurs when Congress fails to pass or the president refuses to sign appropriations, legislations, funding, federal government operations, and agencies. Right, so it's for funding. In this case, the current interpretation of the Anti-Deficiency Act requires that the federal government begin a shutdown of the affected activities involving the furlough of non-essential personnel and curtailment of agency activities and services. Essential employees are still required to work without pay until the government reopens, including medical professionals and in the Veterans Hospital and TSA agents. Right, so, when they don't have enough money, they usually do the QE 1s, 2s, and 3s. Then they did the QE Unlimited, which eventually the currency was now the currency is being deflated, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't have the money and the funds that they need, to keep this government running and pay these their bills and stuff off, man. And the Lord is jacking America up to where they got to keep coming out their pocket to pay for shit. And they don't have the money like how they used to, man. But yeah, that's because this society is on a decline. So. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. Behold, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, so Babylon, which is America, have been a golden cup. The Lord used his people to build America up and make America great, And America took its philosophies, which is his wine, and took it all across the world, including their money system. And their money system has bankrupted countries and brought countries to its knees and stuff. That's why the people are rioting. People are rioting in their countries. And, the same thing happening over here in America. And, they, as you can see, they can't seem to find funding for this government, so they have to keep shutting it down. It's the downfall of America, man. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. right? Because ultimately America's gonna be destroyed afterwards. How for her take bomb for her pain, right? And the bomb, like I said, was the QE1s, 2s, 3s, and QE Unlimited. That's quantitative easing, I think the term was, which where they would get the Federal Reserve to print more money and put more money into the system, which in turn decreases the value of the dollar. So it takes more dollars to purchase certain items that you would want in the store. That's why the prices have gone up. So, but it says, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, right? So that quantitative easing didn't work, or Trump getting in office didn't work. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, right? So, America is not going to be healed, man. We are in the time of America's destruction by way of prophecy, and the Lord said his word won't turn unto him void. So ain't nothing these so-called leaders can do to save this place. This is Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and then howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl ye inhabitants of Mektesh. Mektesh is talking about Merchant Street, man. For all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. Right, talking about the stock market, because eventually the American stock market is going to crash. This is the last scripture. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Talking about the nuclear missiles. And one people shall stand up to fight against another. Talking about the race wars. And swords in their hands, talking about weapons, man, from guns to knives. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right. So sedition is uproars against the government, and that's going on all over the world, man. And they're not gonna regard their kings and princes, their senators, the actors, movie stars, because when this society, when the system collapses, man, it's gonna turn into everybody it's gonna be everybody for themselves. Race war. That's why they're gonna have that. One of the reasons why they're gonna have to call FEMA and all of that. That's why they're doing they little test drills and all that across seas, and they're doing some of them over here too. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because it's gonna be either quarantined off or held by a militia. Because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Right, man? So it's gonna be all types of hell going on in the coming future, man. So with that being said, all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai, Bashima Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that were well, and salutations to the brothers that stood in the truth and sincerity. Shalom.